Develop Project Charter. This is a process of developing a document that formally authorizes the existence of a project and provides a project manager with the authority to apply organizational resources to project activities. This process is performed once at the beginning of the project or phase. The key output of this process is the project charter. The project manager is identified and assigned as early as possible in the project, preferably while the charter is still being developed, but always going to be prior to the start of planning. The charter could be developed by the sponsor or the project manager in collaboration with the sponsoring organization. Inputs to this process include business documents. The benefits management plan tells us how the project will contribute to the business goals. The business case tells us a little bit more about why we're doing this. The business need and cost-benefit analysis are normally contained within the business case. The business need is what we're satisfying through completion of this project. Whatever the underlying motivation or reasoning for the project being undertaken, the project charter should go ahead and incorporate the appropriate level of information for the project from the business documents. However, the project manager will not update or modify these documents in any type of way, although we can make recommendations. If our project is a result of a procurement activity, then any agreements that exist will be inputs to this process. So it could be contracts, letters of intent, memorandums of understanding, service level agreements, whatever it might be. If we have a procurement statement of work, we would also include that as part of this process. The enterprise environmental factors that we may consider, among others, could be government standards, organizational culture, and market conditions. Some organizational process assets could include templates, such as for a project charter, historical information if we have a past similar project, and maybe any lessons learned. Some tools and techniques for this process. Expert judgment. We want to go ahead and rely upon the subject matter expertise of our stakeholders, the customer, the sponsors, anybody that has a good idea of exactly what they want to see as a result of this project and how they will derive value from it. We can also look to consultants or professional and technical associations or even our project management office. Data gathering is going to be very useful here as we try to collect more information to include within the charter. We can do brainstorming, conduct focus groups, or interview our stakeholders. We will also have to use our interpersonal and team skills. Conflict management can be very useful in bringing stakeholders into alignment on objectives, success criteria, and high-level requirements. Facilitation will be useful to effectively guide the group to a decision. Meeting management will allow us to efficiently exchange information with our stakeholders. The key output from this process is our project charter, which may include, and I do want to stress the word may, obviously we're going to want as much information as possible within the charter as it'll make our life easier moving forward. However, we may not always have as much information as we may like. The project's purpose, along with some types of success criteria. So SMART goals is the acronym that is often used. And these goals should be specific. We should be able to clearly identify exactly what they are. They should be measurable in a quantitative manner. We should be able to numerically analyze, did we achieve this or not? It should be attainable in that it is realistic. It's something that we can achieve. It should be relevant, meaning it should be tied to a business need, and it should be timely. High-level requirements, risks, milestones, and pre-approved funding. Now, obviously, since we don't have a lot of detail on our requirements, we don't know exactly how long the work will take or how much it will cost. Right now, we're just trying to do a ballpark figure, so we may do rough order of magnitude estimates. We may try to decide upon a key deliverable to assist with managing customer expectations and achieving project goals. We may identify key stakeholders. And obviously, we will continue to identify other stakeholders, but we can definitely start with the ones that we know have a lot of influence. The identification of responsibility and authority levels for the project manager and sponsor is very important to delineate at a very early point of the project. If we do not clearly draw a line, Eventually, this will become a point of contention and result in a conflict. We should identify what constitutes success and who will make that decision. If we do not define this here, we will have to define it later as part of the scope management plan. Pre-assigned resources, if any, may be identified here, and this is typically if the project is a result of a procurement activity and we'd submitted resumes as part of a request for proposal. The project exit criteria. So what conditions must be met in order to close or cancel the project or phase? We also have the assumptions log. An assumption is anything that we hold to be true without some type of fact or evidence to back it up. At this point, we're going to be making a lot of assumptions. Assumptions are a necessary part of planning. This is something that will occur throughout the entire project, but anytime we make an assumption, we do want to capture it. So any high-level strategic or operational assumptions and constraints. For example, we may assume that we'll have adequate funding over the next 3 fiscal years. Lower level activity and task assumptions. So we may want to look at technical specifications and whether or not things could actually be done. There may be a level of ambiguity risk. Any assumptions and constraints that we see, we do want to go ahead and capture within the relevant log. Develop project charter, learning assessment. Describe the purpose of this process in your own words. Simply put, it is to formally authorize a project. What is the difference between the business case and the benefits management plan? The business case describes, from a business standpoint, if the expected outcomes are worth the investment in the project, while the benefits management plan defines a process for creating, maximizing, and sustaining the benefits provided by the project. Who should prepare the charter? The sponsoring organization or the project manager in collaboration with the initiating entity should prepare the charter. What role should the project manager have in its development? The project manager should take an active part in it in order to ensure that they understand key objectives and the big picture goals. Who should approve or sign off on the charter? The sponsor should sign off on the charter. What level of detail should be reflected in the charter? The charter will be a very high level of detail because planning has not yet occurred. List some items we would expect to see in a charter. Some items that we may see in the charter could be the project manager's level of responsibility, some high-level success criteria, some high-level budget expectations, and any known risks or barriers we may face.